Welcome everyone. Today I have an Arknights Endfield meta builds and also team comp list. And here we'll be looking into both of the free-to-play tier list or the free-to-play team comps and also the meta team comps. We'll be breaking up the meta team comps in terms of the elements and also team compositions and looking into a variety of characters that combine with, of course, the limited banner characters and also the standard banner characters and also some unique choices and also combination of characters. I have made a 12-page long different combination of characters that we'll be going through in this video. To assist with the understanding of those characters, I'll be referring back to my previous characters tier list. I have also created for you guys a tier list of separation or the separation guide, which help you guys to recognize and also to categorize characters in terms of their roles. In terms of DPS characters, supporting characters that does a special purpose like healing, battery for SP, and also providing us with more stacks of elements and also debuffs or amplifications, or even characters that tank up for the whole team. We'll go through this in this video as well. So a lot of resource for you guys to have a look, and we'll be going through the categorization of terms because some characters need a certain trigger of elements to deal even higher damage. We're also looking into some of the universal combos and also debuffs like corrosion that can help your entire team deal higher damage to the enemy characters or enemy monsters. So coming over to this particular guide and also notes. So the notes again will be available to you guys in the links below. I haven't had time to convert all the notes onto the website over here, as you can see with the other guides, because there's overwhelming a lot of information. So again, make sure you guys use the timestamps below to see the different team comps you want to build and see the different characters and also choices for each of those team comps. Now, coming over to our video. Now, what I recommend is, if you haven't seen the previous tier list video, definitely have a look. My reasons in ranking those characters and also the choices are also at the written guide as well, in terms of the characters and also the tier they are associated to. I might be adjusting the tier list a little bit once the patch comes out, if there are changes to the characters or if a new method develops. Excuse me. And what I recommend is, before we understand any of the tier lists or the team composition, again, it is important to understand that operators or characters in Endfield can be categorized into the DPS characters that usually we want to invest the best weapons and also best gears, and also supporting characters that serves different roles. So it is easier to understand this way if I come over to the categorization over here. There are a number of DPS characters in the game. Mostly are 6-star limited banner characters and also some standard banner characters. Even 5-star characters can become a way of DPS character. This also includes the End Administrator, which is naturally a 6-star for the players to use as well. And to follow from that, supporting characters can serve multiple roles. The first role supporting character can serve is as a battery or SP battery. So this will provide you with faster recovery of SP. So Akikuri over here and someone like, PogChamp, I can't pronounce this, Punkgrain over here, or PogChamp over here is also a great way of gaining more SP. So the characters over here have ways of gaining SP faster than most other characters. And some of the 4-stars can even be a universal character. And after that, supporting characters that provide certain debuffs or buffs or stacks of the associated element can be very good. As you're going to see very soon, characters like Wolfguard will provide a lot of the heat or fire stacks. Similarly, over here, Laevatain can be a great physical supporting character with tons of vulnerability, and so is Chen over here, Chen Qiyu. And finally, Policia can provide us with some really good stacks of electric stacks as well. There will also be supporting characters that can provide the team with amplification of damage. This in the form of enemies increased damage taken or maybe increasing your team's damage output. Mentor over here is great for both electric and also fire team. And Get Better is great universal for all the characters and all the teams. And that's why she's going to be a very powerful limited banner character. And here, Shahai over here is going to be excellent for the Cryo team to amplify the damage. In terms of healing, a lot of characters can also do healing. Gibetta can do healing against groups of enemies, and also Shahai over here can also do a bit of healing and also even overhealing to amplify the team's damage. but one of the best healers is the one we get for free. And Julia over here is going to be one of the best healer and also 6-star characters in the game. And because we're getting her for free, she fits in almost everything, and she's going to be a great free-to-play character once we have access to her. In terms of survivability, Ember can be built into an immortal tank, and I know I did rank her a little highly back here with S-. People say maybe she can be A or even B rank because she's not that offensive, but she can be one of the best tanks in the game, making your team unkillable and still does some decent damage. And in comparison, Snowshine over here is going to be an excellent supporting character for the Cryo team, which we do have 2 amazing Cryo DPS. And here we have Catcher as a budget defender that can provide some versatility of defensiveness if you don't have the other 2 defensive characters. So now that you understand the characters can be categorized in this form, I think it helps you to see which of the characters you have, which of the roles they fall under. Because if I just like slam you guys with the team compositions, yes, you can see what are the best compositions for free to play, what are the best compositions for the meta, and what are the choices for the highest damage. But you might not be able to make your own team compositions in the future if you're 1 or 2 short characters of the best team. You want to know what you can make for your team once you have acquired a certain number of characters. So this way, it should help you understand and also start to combine those characters. And we use the team comps over here as a live example. So I mentioned I want to talk about meta teams. The meta teams usually refers to what players uses to be the strongest or the fastest way of achieving objectives in terms of clearing out, exploration, boss killing, and also all the in-game content that is available in the game. This might change as new characters come into the meta, so be aware of this. But at the moment, after all the beta testing with the players, most players do believe the Fire team with Laevatain as the first limited banner character is going to be one of the top meta teams. So Laevatain is going to be the main DPS character, and she's going to stay here, and she will be enhanced by the supporting characters. Wolfguard is going to be an enabler. Wolfguard provides her with a lot of heat stacks, and once he detonates combustion, which is going to be a spell that is coming from the Ads reaction. Combustion is one of the heat or the fire element combinations, and when he detonates combustion, he will provide the team with a slight boost of damage. In terms of damage amplification purely, Intel here will provide damage amplification for the heat and also for the electric team. Do keep in mind the typo over here, Intel does not heal. And in that sense, Intel is going to be here for the massive damage amplification, and the supporting character Akakuri here is a universal character that can work in any build for a battery and also SP battery. She can also provide a tiny bit of heat, not as much as the Wolfguard over here. So those are the 3 supports of choice that provides bonus damage, amplification of damage, and also SP battery. Finally, we have the 2 premium 6-star characters. We'll all be having Andrea over here as one of the premium healers, that she's also natural element that can inflict corrosion. To refer you guys back, corrosion is something we always talk about for any teams that has bonus damage against any resistance. So it's a very welcome synergy that if you have natural units or if you have ways of inflicting corrosion, it is very good. As a premium character, Get Better can definitely work in any team. Her ability to group enemies together and also her ability to amplify the team's damage is very welcome. And this is also the case for the Laevatain team, even though the Laevatain is already great against AoE or massive number of units. She's also great single target DPS as well. So now that you had a look at the character that falls under Laevatain, let's have a look at the combination of groups of team compositions that can work with Laevatain. So Laevatain can work with Wolfguard, can work with Akakuri, and also Anjuria over here to form one of the free-to-play team compositions. You have a 5-star, a 4-star, and also a free 6-star healer you'll be getting at the launch of the game. So if you guys are looking into a more free-to-play style, I definitely recommend starting with this team comp. It is very universal, a lot of good supporting with the stacks of fire or heat, and also a lot of good SP gain together with very decent sustain. Now alternatively, if you want to go a little more damage, we can consider putting Alton over here over Akakuri, and this means we'll be doing a lot more damage output from the damage amplification. For this case also, if we want to go a little more premium, we can keep the previous two characters and then take on to Get Better, which provide us with more control and also even high damage. Now do keep in mind, the healing coming out from Get Better is not as high as Endure over here, but Get Better does provide us with tons of more damage. And similarly, we can go with even higher damage with Intel over here with this particular combination of teams. And finally, we have a few number of combinations that does not involve the healers. It is considered that you can run this team as well once you have become more familiar with the game. And similarly, again, if you need the healers, you can see the combination of choices. Now, Wolfguard here is usually recommended one of the best supporting or enablers for Laevatain. If you do not have Wolfguard, notice all the teams can have Wolfguard. If you do not have Wolfguard, you can compensate for the lack of damage with Intel over here. And again, you can go with the more free-to-play version of the team, or you can go with this more offensive version of the team with even more corrosion stacks coming from Get Better as well. So those are a number of teams that is available by understanding the roles of the characters that is available in the game and then starting to make your own team comp depending on what characters you have and what characters you don't have. So if you come over here, I made a small example. It will take me a while to write up everything. Notice I try to write the team comps. There's some explanations from the previous Laevatain guide, which I did copy paste over here. So I'm still in the process of working those properly. And once that is up, I'll put the website version for you guys to have a look in a more clear form. So now that we talk about the heat or the fire meta team comps and its free-to-play team compositions, let's talk about the Cryo team. The Cryo team is going to be a very strong meta team with consistent DPS of one of the strongest single target DPS or the boss slayer coming from Yvonne over here. I do want to explain over here, the reason I put Yvonne a little lower is for her shortage of AoE clear. But if we talk about boss slaying and also single target, Yvonne is pretty much S+ in my tier list. I should have mentioned in the previous video. So Yvonne is definitely going to be a very strong Cryo character for DPS. Unfortunately, after the live stream and also after what a viewer has reminded me of, she wouldn't work too well with Last Rite because both of them will want to consume the solidification stacks. Solidification is the cryo synergy of arts reactions, and solidification stacks will provide them with additional damage. Because both of the cryo DPS want to consume those stacks, they kinda don't work too well together in one team. You could have two cryo teams, but then you will be missing some supporting characters. So in that sense, if you do have Yvonne, you probably want to build Yvonne over Last Rite, but Last Rite can still be very powerful if you have her as well. She scales really well with higher damage, better gears, and also better equipment as well. So the DPS of choices for the cryo team is either Yvonne or it's Last Rite. Not recommended to run both of them. The supporting character of choice, Shanghai is going to be one of the premium free-to-play supporting characters if you do get her. Not only she can boost massively the cryo damage of the team, 50 or even 60%, Shanghai can also provide healing, and her overhealing is where she provides additional damage bonus. Akakori here is a universal character, and this means that she can kind of fit in this team if you don't have any of the other cryo supporting character. In terms of defenders, Snowshine is going to be great in protecting Yvonne and also provide her with solidification, which are the cryo stacks for higher damage. Snowshine can also provide a bit of healing, I believe, but it's not going to be massive compared to the healers. And finally, Alish can be one of the default cryo SP batteries, so providing with your more SP recovery. But there's nothing too fancy about him, so we won't see him too much in the compositions. And finally, we do have Get Better and also the Adria over here as two of the defaulting healing, supporting 6-star characters with a lot of good damage amplifications of some really strong healing. So those are the characters of choice for the cryo team. Let's have a look at some of the more free-to-play synergies of the team. You can have either Yvonne or Last Rite over here as the DPS, and then Shanghai as both the healer and also support amplification. Akakori here as a universal supporting and also SP battery. And finally, Snowshine can provide us with shield and also more sustain in terms of her HP recovery, which is also decent, and she can provide solidification, which will give us more stacks for Yvonne to deal higher damage. And because Yvonne is going to be a little stationary, having a shielding character is not bad choice as well, especially getting used to the build and also the characters. So this is more of a free-to-play setup. In terms of a premium setup, I'll still keep Shahai over here, but we can run both Get Better and also Adria for massive amount of healing, for corrosion combinations of the Earth Infliction, and also for a lot of control. And the lack of AoE can be compensated because Get Better can group enemies together for Yvonne as well. In that sense, we can also look into switching out of Shahai if you do not have Shahai. And here we can have Akuri? Oh gosh, I'm so bad with the names. Yes, you can have the 4-star universal supporting character over here. And again, this can be either Yvonne or this can be Last Rite, using both of the premium supporting healers and also amplification units. Now, I mentioned we can use Unleash. And here if you're not using Akakuri, and here if you are deciding to use one less of the natural characters, you can run both Shahai and also Unleash as your supporting character. Get Better can amplify your damage and also provide some healing. Because multiple characters you use also can heal, so healing won't be much of a stress for the cryo team composition. And finally, for a bit of balanced of solidification, healing, and also amplification of damage, you can have Snowshine over here. Personally, in terms of Unleash or Snowshine, it really depends whether you have the character, if you have the character to higher duplication, and if you like the playstyle of those characters. Again, Yvonne can be swapped with Last Rite for the place of DPS. And finally, just to show you guys Last Rite over here instead of just showing you Yvonne all the time. Last Rite can also be combined with the characters we mentioned earlier. Here I do want to have a special, coverage of Floor Rite. So notice Last Rite's name's Last Rite, and Floor Rite is pretty much a support unit for Last Rite. This is a joke, of course. So Floor Rite over here is a potential support for both Last Rite and also for Yvonne. Let me try to explain why is that. Floor Rite is going to be a 4-star unit, so you have more access of getting this particular unit. And here his ability with the increasing of stacks when 2 or more cryo infliction or nitro infliction is inflicted on the enemy, and this will apply another art infliction of the element already on the enemy. So this means if you have 2 cryo infliction, he will apply 1 more cryo infliction. And this is what we want in terms of solidification. So it is possible to run the supporter with Floor Rite if you don't have any of the other characters, or if you just want to try him out, it can be a decent supporters because both Last Rite and also Yvonne wants to consume the solidification stacks to deal higher damage. And as you get the inflictions, Floor Rite helps you to gain a little more of those stacks, of course, for higher damage. So over here, we have the 3rd team comp. The previous 2 team comps have focused on the premium limited banner characters or even a 6-star character. Here, our DPS character is going to be a 5-star character, but she is also very powerful in the current meta. So our DPS character over here for the electric team is going to be Avywenna. Hopefully I pronounced her name right. She is supposed to be one of the top DPS characters for the free-to-play players. If you have seen my previous tier list, even though Avywenna is in the A rank, her AoE damage is not as high as Laevatain, her single target is not as high as Yvonne, but her ability to be more consistent and players can get duplications of her makes her quite consistent for electric team. So we have a DPS character, we have our default universal support. This is why if you look at my tier list, this is why we have Akakuri and also Anta rank quite highly in the tier list, because those characters are quite universal to support any team. Anta over here supports only heat or fire teams and electric teams, and Akakuri here can fit in any teams if you're short on those premium supporting or characters for the utility and also for batteries, of course. And as for specific characters, Arknight over here is going to be one of the best supporting characters for the electric team, which I'll try to explain. And Palisica can also be one of our supporting enablers for more stacks and also bonus damage. Similarly, we have our universal supporting characters in terms of healings and also damage amplification. Again, the reasons why those characters are ranked so highly for me is because the universalness to be in almost any team to support and also to provide multiple sources of healing, corrosion or bonus damage. So let's have a look at the teams, and I'll get some water. Excuse me. So one thing I do want to highlight, the reason I like Arknight is that because from the beta, players have reported to be able to achieve over 600 intelligence for Arknight. And Arknight over here have the passive ability that if you have a lot of intelligence, you can stack intelligence and also gain increasing electric damage for the entire team. And this means around 600 or even higher intelligence for pretty nice build for her means about 50 or even 60% bonus electric damage for the entire team if you follow her combos correctly. So this is why you can see Arknight as one of the, I guess, the batteries and also the amplification character. She can serve multiple purpose in the electric team. And because all your other characters can also deal electric damage, she not only boosts your DPS damage, her own damage, and also the team's damage as well. So you can see her in the electric team a lot. So Avywenna is gonna be our DPS character. Arknight over here is gonna provide us with some SP battery and also additional electric damage. Pelisica here can help us to gain additional electric stacks. And finally, Entel here can provide us with some really solid damage amplification. Now, I do want to warn you guys, this is more of a free-to-play team comp, and we do not have any of the premium healers. Should you find yourself a little bit weaker and want one of the healers, of course, coming to Andrea over here is of course the best choice. So coming over here, you can consider having Get Better here for higher damage and also some slight healing, or having one of the best healers over here in your electric team. Now, because not everyone can get Better, it is recommended to go with this more consistent team with Andrea over here, and this can also be a free-to-play team as well. Very powerful free-to-play team, and this clears all the contents in the beta as well. A lot of players who don't have the healer can still do it, and having this healer means you're more stable and also more consistent. So, as we mentioned earlier, if you don't have one of the particular characters, or if you have a very well invested Akakuri fits for any teams, this means that you can also run Akakuri on the team, and you can still keep Arknight and also the premium healer. Similarly, if you want to go for high damage, Entel here will provide you with slightly higher damage in terms of pure damage amplification. You can take a mix of the characters, especially if you do not have Arknight. There are options of going with Entel and also Akakuri. There's also options to go with Akakuri and also Pelisica, and options to swap between Get Better and also Andrea over here in terms of healing or higher damage amplification. Okay, that summarized all the electric characters, and that should be one of the strongest free-to-play teams. You can run the entire team purely on the free-to-play characters, and if you get a particular 5-star, this team becomes even more consistent. And this may be one of my second team for my team composition after investing in my premium teams. So, we have our final team composition, and this revolves around the End Administrator. The physical teams with End Administrator is not going to be as powerful as the other 3 Meta Elemental teams with Fire, Cryo, and also with Electric, but it can still work wonderfully. If we come over to my previous tier list, I have ranked the End Administrator around A rank. Not going to be the strongest, it is still classified as a 6-star character, and you can run multiple synergies with it. It is possible to run End Administrator with a physical and also ice team as well. But our focus here is more of a pure physical team, and with a bit of twist. So, End Administrator is here going to be DPS for most of the phases. The other characters you see over here can also deal some quite sizable damage. I forgot to mention some of the supporting characters from the previous list can still do some sizable sub DPS damage. So, End Administrator is DPS character. We have our PogChamp, we have PogChamp over here is going to be our 6-star battery, and he can deal some pretty nice damage. We can also have the Physical Enabler, which Yvonne can provide us with some pretty nice link and also additional debuffs and also physical susceptibility and also the vulnerability. We also have Chen over here as well, the free-to-play character that can provide us with a lot of the physical vulnerability. and this will allow End Administrator to deal even high damage. Alternatively, the Panda can also help us to do some sub DPS, and we can use Akakari again for any character you're missing, she can sub in as well. In terms of the supporting characters that provide us with defensive capacities, Get Better amplifies the damage, we have the best healer, and we can consider running Ember over here. Even though Ember is a hit character, she can provide us with some very nice guard, some very nice healing, and also some vulnerability for physical stacks as well. So Ember is definitely a choice for the physical teams, surprisingly. It is possible to try to run Ember in the hate teams with Laevatain, but I didn't want to shake up the meta too much. I'll definitely give her a try if I get her with Laevatain as well. So, in terms of a more physical and also free-to-play team, the End Administrator can be combined with Chen here, Akakari, and also the Panda. This is one of the default teams, and players can potentially clear all the content, but it's not recommended to invest too heavily in the characters that is not universal in other teams. This is the downside. But that said, if you happen to have some of the premium 6-star characters, I mentioned in my previous guide as well that the End Administrator works very well with 6-star characters. What a surprise, right? Well, anyone works well with 6-star premium characters, and End Administrator is no different. So here, End Administrator, PogChamp, Leafin can all do some damage, and they can provide you with physical stacks, physical susceptibility, vulnerability that increase enemies' physical damage taken, and Get Better will enhance the team's damage even further with capability of some healing. So this is going to be one of the strongest physical premium teams compared to the free-to-play teams. You probably do multiple times higher damage. But that team doesn't come easily because you have so many 6 stars. And in that sense, of course, you found a bit of healing, and Joy over here can be replacing Get Better over here, of course. And the premium, 6-star supporting characters are all physical that deals decent damage themselves. Now during this time, if you do not have some of the 6-star characters, you can swap in Chen as well, and Chen should be freely available to the players as you play the game. She should become one of the given characters to the players. The Chen can fit in both of those teams, whether you want high damage with Get Better, or if you want more healing with Joy over here. Now, one character I kind of have taken a liking, even though it is debatable again, to rank Ember so highly, is because of this. If you guys remember Zhongli, or if you guys remember Zhu Yuan, so Zhongli from Genshin Impact and Zhu Yuan is that Zhong Yuan? Oh, just the shielding characters. Usually shielding characters is what makes your team invulnerable and also very sustainable. Ember over here have 2 passives I want to go with you guys. So the first one is that you can be giving every teammate a shield based on Ember's maximum health. And second to that is Ember can also provide the team with HP treatment, which is healing recovery as well. So it is potential to run the End Administrator with Leafin and also with any other character. Can be a healer, can be Chen over here, can be PogChamp over here, and it can even be the Panda over here, or with Akakari. You can run the third character, and then running Ember as one of your shielding, defending characters that can also provide healing and also physical vulnerability as well. So Ember is maybe the wild card. I still have hope and also faith that Ember can be higher on the tier list. So this is why I want to introduce these characters in both the free-to-play characters with physical team and potentially run Ember in one of the fire teams that we see over here. But there's too many good characters on the fire team. This is why I didn't try to squeeze Ember in, because you have Wolfguard, you have Entel, some of the best supporting characters for Laevatain, and you have the best supporting healers. So it's hard to fit Ember into those teams. But if you happen to have Ember, I think running with a physical team is definitely a decent choice as well. Oh, that took us a while because I have collected a number of information, used my previous tier list, and also made a new categorizing tier list for you guys to understand how the characters are placed over here. I didn't include all the characters, but majority, 95% of the characters are here. And finally, if you guys are not sure how the arts work and how everything is working, and if you guys are not sure of the key terms, in all of the written guides, I have tried to attach links over here so you can have a look. Similarly, if you're not sure how the gacha works, definitely recommended to have a look at this written guide. I have also upgraded the written guide. Over here for additional features that is added for patch 1.0. For example, there is the 10 times free summon system after summoning for 30 times. There's also the increasing method of gaining additional arsenal ticket by exchanging with other geometry. So a lot of features added to patch 1.0 for the gadget system as well. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments which of the team comp are you most excited about, and if I have missed any particular popular team comps or any crucial characters, please let me know as well. Now if you guys haven't subscribed, this is a really good time to do so, because I'll be covering everything related to Arknights Endfields, relating to the builds, the characters, and also ways of getting promo codes and additional freebies, explorations related to the game. So make sure you subscribe for the latest update and also news related to the game, and also more updates for new patches to come in the future.